evening. I am Brian Weaver. I am a coordinator with Denver Public Schools for the Department of Student Equity and Opportunity. I'm here tonight to talk about the purpose and passion that our students need to propel them forward in their futures. Welcome. Thank you for joining us here this evening with our little presentation about purpose and passion. This is a sonru that I actually penned and authored myself. I'll just let you look at that for just a moment. But I just like to lead with that to let you know that one of my passion areas is writing sonrus. Sonrus are like haikus. They follow haiku convention. However, rather than being about sort of peace and nature and zen, as haikus often are, sonrus are more sometimes urban. They might have an ironic twist, irony in there. I write one every day. And it kind of keeps my passionate juices going when it comes to language and expression that way. I'd also like to begin with this idea of teachers 1, 2, and 3 that was made popular by Benjamin Bloom, also known for Bloom's taxonomy, widely used in education. The idea of teachers 1, 2, and 3 is just sort of an anticipatory set for our thinking here, that in a person's life, if you're lucky, you will meet teacher 1 who shows you what you might be passionate about, or awakens you to a passion or a sense of purpose in something or in a field or in a particular topic or subject. Teacher 2 comes along, who may be the same person or might be a different person, and actually helps you to build your toolbox and your set of skills around that passion area, and kind of shows you how to do it. Teacher 3, though, is entirely a different set of situations here. We've got this person who enters into your life to show you your unique legacy and your unique purpose that only you can bring to that particular field. Not everyone meets their teacher 3. And some people will look the world over to find their teacher 3. It's the person who helps teach you your unique legacy on the particular passion area that you are developing. I just like to begin with that. I find it inspiring and an interesting idea. Also, I'd like to just introduce you a little bit to this organization. I'm a member of this, I'm on this board for the Shannon B. Jones Passion Pursuit for Creative Learning. Shannon B. Jones was my mentor as I was both growing up and also in my first 10 years of teaching at the University of Denver. And Shannon is no longer with us on Earth. Cancer took Shannon far too early, but I always just like to have this slide right away because it helps bring her spirit kind of in with me into the room because, frankly, she taught me everything I know. So what we're going to talk about today are four problems related to passion identification and pursuit today. Everything I'm presenting to you today is my material, so meaning that these are original ideas that I have authored myself. I have a white paper that goes with this that is in proceed with publication with SANG, an organization for supporting the emotional needs of the gifted. So it's near and dear to my heart. This first problem that I want to... we will also get to the solutions, by the way. We won't just focus on problems. The first problem is the fear and the self-consciousness and the doubt that we have to pursue passions. Because often, our passions are not necessarily aligned with the prescription or the societal narrative. So, what are prescriptions in societal narrative? You know how that kind of goes. Be a teacher, be a doctor, be a lawyer. There are certain things that we think, oh, that's just sort of the status quo or the standard that society wants us to do, something that they want us to be. Our passions don't always align with that. Our passions can be way out of the box. And when we are way out of the box, we sometimes then experience this sense of fear and self-consciousness and doubt. But what I want to emphasize with this point is that for our young adults, and I refer to our young adults as those in high school, but also those in college who maybe are still in their early 20s. Because as a side note, we know that the brain is still developing its way all the way through, right up until sometimes 23, 24, 25 years old. When you are that tender age, you're already wrestling with fear, self-consciousness, and doubt about your identity for so many other reasons and in so many other ways that to then march forward boldly toward a passion might be that much harder. The second one is, in our school systems, our public school systems, and in our world, we often treat passions as an extra. I see this as very problematic. If we're to honor our passions and our sense of purpose and be authentic within ourselves with that which drives us to really enjoy our lives, we can't necessarily think of that as some extra thing that we're just going to do in our spare time, if we have time, at that last 10 minutes of the day. And furthermore, we can't really think of those passion pursuits as just being something that should happen as an extra in school either. That if we get time, if the teacher runs out of time and there's a little time over here to do a passion pursuit at the end with those last few minutes, I see that as problematic as well. Thirdly, this idea of a business-modeled approach to education in general. I have been around the field of education for 20 years. I've devoted my entire career to education. I love it. I eat, sleep, and breathe education. And I've seen the pendulum swing between business-modeled approaches and then curricular, collegiate, academic approaches to education. I fear, and I find it problematic, that right now I see the trend back again toward a business-modeled approach to education. I knew this to be the case when I found higher-level administrative meetings within our schools often referring to corporate terminology, including our students as customers, our parents as customers, as stakeholders, ways that we will leverage opportunities. And I thought to myself, where is that little red schoolhouse terminology that we used to use that would sound like school? I thought, that's problematic. And one day, a colleague of mine said, Brian, she says, look at this app. She said, it's a way to translate corporate speak into everyday language. And I realized at that moment how much corporate language was in our educational setting that day. And then this, finally, with our problems, is where do we have any more in this day of so many distractions and so many things to pay attention to, where do we build in our long and uninterrupted periods of time to seek and discover? I've chosen those words very carefully. To seek and discover, and long and uninterrupted periods of time. Just today, here at East High School, I was talking with a fantastic group of diverse young advanced learners, together with our assistant principal, our community family liaison, and our psychologist, our social worker, and our risk management teacher and coordinator for the school. And just in the course of natural conversation, it came up that our kids are not feeling like they have any time to really just think and ideate, which thinking and ideation are both very necessary for passion, pursuit, and development. So let's look at some solutions. There are 4 that I've identified. The first one is, let's immediately, just today, right here in this room together, let's adopt passions, not as an extra, but let's adopt passion pursuits and being passionate and proceeding with purpose as something we must do essentially. That's an essential part of our development and of our personhood and of our intellect. How about curiosity? Do we really encourage curiosity amongst our young adults? You know, the facilitator for this event here was saying that a lot of people might like to attend an event if their children are getting ready to go to jail or if their children are getting ready to be in some kind of trouble. Often, we see kids getting into trouble, especially gifted people, because of the fact that they were really just very curious. One of my students has gotten into quite a bit of trouble just lately, technologically speaking, with accounts and different things, not through a lot of ill will or sinister intentions, but really through a genuine sense of curiosity. If we not only encourage curiosity, but teach people about their curiosity, what keeps you up at night and why? And how can we embrace it and use it in a positive manifestation? I think that we'll do much better with our problems than if we think of curiosity as something that is, again, either as an extra or something that might just get us in trouble, with the old saying, curiosity killed the cat. How about this? So my wonderful students that I have here with me today have heard me lecture about this probably for far too many hours already, about how important it is to truly practice effortful listening without distractions to other people. I like to tell my students, and I like to tell anyone when speaking about this, that when you do this, you open up a magic closet behind you filled with superhero capes. And each one of those capes, as a superhero cape, is your ability to listen to another perspective, listen to another person. And when you put on your cape and truly listen without distractions to the experience of another person, you are fostering, you are breeding, you are absolutely making passion with people, because people are not listened to enough anymore. Our experiences of listening become now a commodity because we're fragmented and we are distracted. But here's the other thing. When you listen, it opens up a window for people to talk about their passions. People will finally start to open up and take a breath from the average rhetoric of daily life and suddenly begin telling you what they really care about. And if you listen, it starts to expand and flower and become a beautiful, beautiful thing. I found out that a young man here at our school today was passionate about the yo-yo, and not passionate about the yo-yo a little bit, but passionate about the yo-yo to the extent that he understands the physics of the yo-yo, the different global and international competitions about the yo-yo, different aesthetic experiences that one can have with yo-yo, tension of the yo-yo. There wasn't anything about a yo-yo that this student didn't have passion for or didn't want to tell me. But the only way I was able to find that out was through closing my computer, putting my stuff off to the side, being free of the preoccupations in my mind, and realizing I was with another human being who was passionate about something, and to listen. And to just listen to him about that. And then come up with some ideas for how that passion might be nurtured, or how the habit of mind of being passionate about something like a yo-yo could be applied to other things as well, and could be applied across the board in his life. We need to identify and explore all kinds of different ways to then do the work. Like Teacher 2 teaches us how to build our passion toolbox. We need to think about all the different ways you might explore a passion. You might interview someone. You might go to a museum. You might take a trip. You might go to the library and do a full historical analysis on the microfiche and look back at old artifacts and things like that. You might journal. There are so many different ways that a person can pursue a passion. You might try a new mind mapping app on your phone where you can then create new relationships between one passion area and another. We have to think about that there are multiple demonstrations of a person's passion, of the process of exploring a passion, and of the learning that goes along with that. Multiple ways. Why is that important for our teachers? It's important for our teachers because sometimes we get stuck in just one way, one modality. I don't want to say just a worksheet because nobody really does that anymore, right? But we have to get away from the idea that we have to stick to one or two ways of exploring our passions. There are so many different ways, and they are all valuable.